If you're watching this right now and you haven't hit the like button, Billy, get on it. Bug your brother. Tell him to do the same.
Spencer Horwitz made his MLB debut over the weekend, got his first MLB hit, but last week he took the time to chat with us. Congratulations to Spencer Horwitz on the MLB debut. Much deserved. Without further ado, here is that conversation from last week with Spencer Horwitz.
Very excited to be joined once again on the show by first baseman and left fielder for the Toronto Blue Jays organization, currently donning that Buffalo Bison's AAA jersey, Spencer Horwitz. Welcome back to the Walk-Off, man. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, buddy. Before we even get into this, huge congrats to you, man. You're killing it this first third of the season so far. You've got a 302 batting average. Your on base percentage, you're on base all the time. It's like 425. So well done. Well done, buddy. Congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're feeling pretty good about it, eh? You feel good where you're at, right?
Yeah. I always want to be better, but yeah, it's looking back in the big picture. I'm pretty content with where
I am. So before we get into the season here, I did want to know your experience at the World Baseball Classic, because this had to have been one of the cooler things that you've done in your career here. Just being on the world stage, donning that Israel jersey, playing with guys like Danny Valencia and Jock Peterson, who have, major league pros for years and years. What was that experience like, buddy?
Yeah, that was an unbelievable experience. When they said I was going to be on the team, I was so excited. And it was just that month of, March? And it was my first big league camp. And I got to go to the WBC. That month was pretty it was pretty intense. It's a lot to take in, but no, it was really, really cool being alongside those guys, and I'm glad I got to contribute to our pretty big win against Nicaragua.
How did that Team Israel process all come together for you? Who reached out? Was this just something you saw coming, or were you a little taken aback by it?
Yeah, so the GM Peter reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested, and I said of course. And then went through the process of making sure I was eligible and had the family records and got through all that. And then I was good. And he said, okay, sounds good. Like, we're going to reach back out in a month or so and let you know if you're on the team. And I said, sounds good. And then they said I'm on it. And then we all got together in Florida, had a big dinner, had 2 practices, and then we're on the world stage.
Okay. Was it intimidating at all? Like, I know you play with these guys and you're around baseball all the time, but like, man, you were playing with and against guys that are all-stars.
Yeah. Intimidating, yes. But was I scared? And yes, but that's not the overall, like, what I look back and take away from it. No, I take away how awesome of an experience it was and how that was my first time playing on national TV, my first time playing in a big league stadium. And there were so many firsts, and to have that experience and play in front of that many people in a sold out crowd and doing it in the outfield too. And yeah, it was an experience that I'm extremely grateful for.
Did it validate you a little bit too? Like, did you feel like, holy shit, maybe I belong?
I wouldn't say that's what gave me my validation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that comes from other things and hard work and other previous years of success. But yeah, it's definitely a cool thing to hang my hat on, saying I played in the World Baseball Classic.
Was it tough to ramp up so early in the season? Because I mean, you were playing pretty intense baseball in March.
Yeah, so I think I got about probably 8 spring training games around there, 8 to 10 spring training games. So I was pretty close. Yeah, the Blue Jays helped out a lot and gave me a lot of playing time in those early spring training games to get me ready, to make sure everything was good to go. I had the at bats and I had my feet under me. So yeah, I was pretty close to being ready. But yeah, I mean, baseball's a long season. When you condense it into one small tournament, that's when it's a little different.
Yeah, it gets weird, eh? I'm curious what it
Mm.
was like coming back afterwards, like, because you're going from pretty intense tournament to
Mhm.
spring training again. Was that a little weird?
Yeah, it was like go to my first big league spring training, that's a high. Then go to WBC, that's another high, and then back to spring training. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of travel, but no, it was awesome. A lot of baseball. It was really, really cool.
So I know you mentioned it, just the fact you were playing reps in the outfield with Team Israel, very cool. And I know last time we chatted, that was something that you were working really hard on, was just getting better in the outfield. Where are you at in that? Like, do you feel far more comfortable in left? Because I'm going to tell you, man, you look far more comfortable in left.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I think with anything, it's you're gonna get more comfortable with the reps. And so yeah, I mean, I'm more comfortable now than I was at the WBC, and it's just gonna keep getting better and better. And that's why I hope I can keep getting those reps out there.
What's the major difference? I mean, you've played first base for years and years, and you're very comfortable there. What's the big difference mindset wise between playing in the outfield and first base? Because I can imagine in the outfield, there's a little bit more time to let your mind wander a little.
Yeah, for me at first base, you'll see me when I'm playing first. I'm always talking to people, and I'm always talking to my other infielders, talking to the base runners. And then when I'm in the outfield, it's you got no one to talk to. You're just talking to yourself. And yeah, I'd say that's the biggest difference. And then physically, the actual difference would just be like the angle and the ball flight, and because I'm playing the complete opposite end of the field. And so when you think the ball is going to go one way, because I'm used to it being at first base, it's doing the complete opposite when I'm in left. So it's just
That
learning that
is
and getting more comfortable.
that is so funny, man. I never even thought of that in a million years. That like if you're a social guy and you're always chatting dudes up at first base, that now
Yeah.
you're out in left field and you're just like, I'm by myself.
Yeah. Uh,
So you've always had pretty good plate discipline, but buddy, this year you really have taken it to a whole new level. And I'm just curious if this is a new approach or if this is more just experience and knowing the pitching better or whatever it may be. Let the kids know. How do you get on base at a almost 45% clip?
um, yeah, it's a lot of competitiveness, I'd say. Striking out has never been fun for me, and I'm sure it's not fun for anyone. But I really, really take it personally. And yeah, I train myself in the off season and in season to be aware of the strike zone, and I can feel that like I'm not having my best eye or I don't know exactly where the pitch is, then we're going to go back in there and train that again. And because I think that's a really, really important thing. Like my take on hitting is you take good swings at good pitches, and that's all you got to do, and the rest will take care of itself.
Well, I mean, you've obviously been noticed by the team, and it must feel good as a guy who's been in the organization for years. I know we had Davis Schneider on the show last week, and I know you guys are buds, and he was just mentioning what a confidence boost it was for them to put him in the three hole, right? And like, I know you're hitting cleanup most of the time. Uh, What's your approach when you're hitting cleanup? Because I know that that's one thing where like run production's a big one, and you got to concentrate on driving guys in. Does your mindset change when you step into the box and there's a guy on second or third, or is you're a contact hitter and that's the goal either way?
Yeah, I think my goal. I'm trying to hit the ball hard, and that's always my goal. I'm not going out there to slap something, or I'm not trying to hit a ball like over the fence a million. As long as I'm hitting it hard, that's I'm happy. That's a success. And yeah, when runners are in scoring position, obviously the situation is going to dictate what I do. So yeah, if the team needs me to get a guy over, get a guy in, however that is, depending on the situation, then yeah, I'm going to do that. But in terms of is it changing from when I'm hitting two, three, four, five, six? No, I'm going up there. Like I said, I'm going to take good swings at good pitches and hit something hard.
I know that when it comes to both you and Davis, for that matter, um, was it weird to kind of hit a point? Because you're a guy now, you've been in the organization for years. Like you've kind of got that veteran presence to you. I know you're only 25, but to some of these kids in the organization, you're the guy they're looking up to now. What was that like at spring training to have some of these kids be like, holy, like here's a guy who's been here, done that?
Yeah. Yeah, this spring was definitely different. Yeah, because it being my first big league camp, I was the new guy and looking up to these guys and looking up to the Blue Jays lineup and how it's all stars up and down. And I'm looking at them like they've been there, done that, trying to learn from them. And then I get sent down to the minor league camp and it's the complete switch. It's now I'm the veteran of the minor league camp and these guys are looking at me. So it's just passing along that information. And that's what baseball's all about, is just sharing that information, and experience is going to be your number one help with that. And the more you can play, the more experience and just knowledge you're going to have of the game.
I don't even know, Spencer, if there's a real answer to this question, but you're on the 40-man roster. You're having a heck of a season. You're getting close. And there is a detriment to maybe looking too far ahead. How do you stay focused on the day-to-day in Buffalo, knowing that, I mean, you're really an injury or something like that away from making your MLB debut, but that is not what you should be thinking about, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah. You know that. You just said it. That's not something I should be thinking about. Yeah. It's at times it's hard not to think about it, but it's everything that's out of my control. I try not to think about. And like, you have days where you wonder, and then you have days where you're just here and it's easy. But yeah, it's a balancing act. Like, yeah, I'm gonna think about it. I'm human. It's natural. But yeah, I'm also gonna do my best to be where my feet are and enjoy every moment of this. And we have a great group of guys in Buffalo, so it makes it a lot easier to be with them.
We're really rooting for you, man. It's funny because Adam and I have talked about this a few times when it comes to guys like yourself and Davis Schneider and some of these guys that are kind of knocking on the door, right, and have been on the show, of how difficult it would be to not put the cart before the horse, to just be like, because that's so detrimental to do, but to be so close. So anyways, I guess what I'm saying is we're rooting for you. You're gonna get there, and congrats on putting yourself in that situation here. Now I'm gonna ask you about your Achilles heel here, and I don't know if you even want to give this away, but as a lefty hitter, is there a pitch that, despite knowing you should lay off, looks juicy every time and then winds up fooling you? Not to give away your secrets here.
Yeah, no, it's the pitches that the ones that start in the middle and then they disappear. It's those
Oh,
pitches.
right.
Yeah, the ones that look good and then they're not there anymore. I'm like, where did it go? But yeah, that comes back to training the plate discipline and just having a good plan.
We had Rob Feldman, the pitching ninja, on, and one thing that the pitching ninja has done, I think, for baseball fans, is actually show you how freaking hard it is to hit a baseball. Like those overlays, man. Sometimes when you watch the pitcher throw a changeup and his four seamer, and it's identical. Like it's impossible to even know until it's halfway to the plate. It's like, how, right? Because it's so easy as a guy watching the game to be like, how would you swing at something a foot off the plate?
Yeah.
But then when you watch it come out with that overlay, it really does sum it up nicely. So yeah, man. Have you found that as you become more experienced, you are better at recognizing those pitches?
Yeah, I think that comes more to game planning and just not just going up there, and I think that's the biggest difference from level to level, is just the number of fastballs you're going to get. And because now it's different because there's no more short season. And then so like when I was in Bluefield, it was when you were a 2-0 count, 2-1 count, 3-1 count, you're getting a fastball. And now it's 2 games ago, I got a 3-0 slider, and I'm like, what are we doing? And then, so yeah, it's just different, and it's just, but you just absorb that like experience, and you take that knowledge and you put it in your back pocket and say, okay, now he likes that 3-0 slider. Now you know that.
So when you're game planning, this is all pitcher to pitcher and scenario to scenario, is my guess here.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So out of curiosity then, when you are facing a pitcher that, let's say, is fastball heavy, is your plan normally to eliminate the off speed stuff if you can, or again, does it really depend on the pitcher?
Yeah, it depends on the pitcher, and then it's also watching the game, see what they're doing that day, because the scouting report might say, "Oh, this guy throws a lot of fastballs," but then that day he doesn't have command of his fastball and his changeup's on. So then you're just watching that, and you're like, "Oh, okay, like this guy likes his changeup today." So you'll look for that too.
Do you have a favorite AAA stadium to play in?
So far, Lehigh was really cool. Lehigh Valley.
Yeah?
I really liked that one. Where else? Gwinnett was nice. We've played in a lot of good stadiums. This league is, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. How does
Buffalo.
Salem Field compare to the complex in New Hampshire? Did you enjoy one more than the other? Or maybe enjoy is the wrong word. Did you prefer to play in one over the other?
I'd say they're different. I like different parts of them. I love the hotel in left field of New Hampshire. I think that's one of the coolest like views
Yeah.
in all baseball. But yeah, Buffalo's the playing surface is great. The scoreboard's huge. The stadium's big. Yeah, I mean,
I guess
yeah,
you're kind of reaping the benefits at Salem Field from when the Jays were there in 2021 and did all
exactly.
those renos, eh? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's beautiful now. Our clubhouse is great. Yeah, great facilities for us.
So Spencer, I have to ask you this for the kids, because we do actually have a lot of 13, 14, 15-year-old ball players who watch the show, and then they'll reach out sometimes. And I know I had a guy, he was a 14-year-old shortstop, and he was so frustrated, dude. His coach was running drills on double plays, and he was just struggling so much with his footwork and just doing the toss. And he was convinced he'd never do it. And of course, all you can say to these kids is like, you just got to keep working at it. Some things come easier to others, like you can't judge either. Development's not linear. So for the kids, do you have something that you're quite good at now that when you first started trying to master, you just sucked at?
Yeah, I sucked at baseball.
You're
Um,
like the whole game.
yeah, the whole game was not good. I'd say I got good once I found the weight room and I chose to be good. I didn't I don't know. I stopped playing video games and I went and played baseball. And instead of waking up playing video games, I went and hit on the tee. And then that turned into hitting on the tee and going to work out. And then that turned into hitting on the tee, working out, and doing ground balls. Like it's just the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. And like if to that kid, I'd say like that's probably his first time or second time doing that drill, and he's going to get better at it the next time. And
Yeah.
he missed six that time. Okay, great, go miss five. You miss four the next time, and then next thing you know, you're not missing any. Like it's just a process, and like that word has become so cliche. Trust the process. Trust the process. And that's why I like saying trust the hard work. Like the hard work is way like
Yeah.
it's the same thing, but that in, like kind of like sticks with people a little more, and you're just like, okay, like the blueprint to success is hard work equals success, and then, like there's no other blueprint. Like if you do something, you work hard, you're gonna get better at it. Simple.
It really is a battle of attrition. It's not giving up, right?
Yeah, that's the only failure is giving up.
Yeah. I love that, man. That's a great answer. What got you into the game out of curiosity? Was your dad a big ball fan?
Yeah, my dad was he was an Orioles fan growing up, so he had the good Orioles with Jim Palmer, Cal Ripken, and all them. So he was spoiled, and then they hadn't made the playoffs. I think it was '97 was their last time they made the playoffs until I think it was 2014. So yeah, they had a big drought, and
Yes.
then I got spoiled with the Orioles. And when I was in high school, those teams were good with Machado, Chris Davis. Yeah, those teams were
Oh
good.
yeah. Oh yeah. As a Jays fan, I remember I hated that team.
Yeah, that team was good.
Were they always your team your whole
Yeah,
time growing up too? Yeah.
yeah, always.
Yeah. Okay, my man. So now we're gonna flip the script here, and we're going to do some extracurricular questions. So these aren't quite as baseball focused here. What's your favorite TV show of all time? Do you have one?
Yeah, I got two. I like the only time I really watch TV is right before bed. So I like these are shows that I can just like fall asleep to and just listen to.
Yeah.
So two go tos are Friends and New Girl.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Just
You know
light
what?
shows, funny, and you just listen to them, and that's it.
This is going to blow your mind. So I asked Hagen Danner the same question, except I asked him his opinion on Friends. And
Yeah.
he said, I've never seen it. I was like, are you kidding me? You're
He's
like,
what is he? 2000s baby? Or is he 99 maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll
I
have to get
still
on him about that.
yeah, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite baseball movie?
Favorite baseball movie? That's a tough one. Probably Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a classic. That
it
was
is a
always
classic.
on, like, when I was
Yeah.
younger, and it was just like, "Maybe I can throw that hard one day, just break my arm."
What's your favorite drink? Are you a beer guy or do you prefer a stiffer drink?
Yeah, I'll just have a beer. I'm not a big
Yeah.
drinker, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'll drink a beer, but I love coffee. If I'd say that's
Yeah.
my favorite drink, yeah.
Nice. All right. I know you just said you stopped playing video games and started hitting more.
Yeah.
Are you a gamer at all? Do you like to play some vids?
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, just other things piqued my interest.
Favorite band or musician that you like to listen to while working out? And I know this probably changes all the time, but what are you listening to now?
Um, while working out, that's
Yeah, what
different.
gets Spencer Horwitz pumped, like
Um,
ready to go?
yeah, I really like listening to, like, some Kid Cudi. He's really like, his old Kid Cudi stuff that's some of my favorite music of all time. But yeah, like Kid Cudi, Post Malone, Mike Stud, those 3 guys.
Yeah. Okay. So before I let you go here, we've got two listener questions for you. This one is from David in our Discord, and he reached out. He said, "Hey Spencer, love seeing you're coming back on the podcast. What do you think your biggest accomplishment of the year has been? Whether it's a singular moment or an aspect of your game that just came together."
That's a good question. Biggest accomplishment. Um, biggest accomplishment. I'd say probably in this season, or I was gonna say, like, maybe getting added to the roster. That was a big deal.
Right?
But this season alone, um, yeah, I'd probably say the WBC. Yeah, like playing in that, and like not just like playing in it, but like contributing and having that had a good base hit that helped us and propelled us to a victory. Yeah, that was really cool.
How did you find out you were added to the 40-man roster? Was this one of those Twitter things, or did they let you know?
No, so I was actually in Florida because I was coming back from my wrist injury last year, and so I was rehabbing it down there. And my agent called me that morning and was like, "Hey, like, this is the deadline. We haven't heard anything. Have you heard anything?" I was like, "No, like, I didn't even know it was the deadline." And they're like, "Okay, so like, just keep your phone on. Like, we'll let you know if we hear anything." I said, "Sounds good." Go into like the Blue Jays complex, see everyone. No one knows a thing. And everyone like was like, "Well, it could happen. It could not. I don't know." And yeah, the deadline was 6 o'clock. It's like 5:30. My girlfriend was in town because my birthday was, I think, 2 days later. And yes, and then we're going out to dinner, and I'm like, "Hey," I get a phone call from Joe Sclafani. I'm like, "Hey, I gotta take this," and he's just told me, "Yeah, you got added to the roster." I was like, "Cool."
That's very cool. That must
Yeah.
have been. Did you celebrate a little? Call the
Yeah, we
parents,
got a
let
bottle of
everyone
wine.
know?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got a nice bottle of wine. It was nice.
that's awesome. A
Yeah.
coffee and a bottle of wine, eh? Celebrate.
Oh god. Yeah. Two of my favorites.
Okay, so Christine reached out on Twitter and said, "Hey Spencer, I actually saw you play in Vancouver back in 2019. Which affiliate did you enjoy your time with most? Also curious which team you have played for in the organization you felt improved your game the most."
Good question. Each affiliate has their positives. Vancouver, the city, the fans, bar none. Um,
Yeah, Nat Bailey Stadium, everyone seems to really
yeah,
rave about it, eh?
unbelievable. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I only was there for 2 weeks, but it was still one of my favorite places to play. And then, like I said, New Hampshire in the hotel, that was awesome, awesome place to play. And then Buffalo, I've been here for almost, yeah, a year now, and I love it. It's a great city. I feel like this is the most, like, this city is like probably the biggest one of, I mean, compared to Manchester and Vancouver was just, I was only there a week, but yeah, this
Yeah.
city is so, like, the most homey kind of feel to it. But yeah, I mean, all three have been great. In terms of where did I get most improved?
That I know that's a tough question, but if there is something that stands out in your mind where you were just like, you felt like you really turned a page.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's after.
I'd say I'm gonna credit my hitting coaches. I've had two hitting coaches since I've been in pro or in full season, and Matt Haig, who is with Buffalo now, and he was in New Hampshire last year. He helped me a lot in just like talking through like what I'm feeling in my swing and what's happening, and also he's obviously been a player and played a long time, and just being able to talk through that. So being with him has been really good. And then Ryan Wright in 21, because my first half in 21 wasn't great, but Ryan was always there to push me and keep me going. Was always there for that early cage work, and was always willing to try stuff with me. So yeah, I'd give a lot of credit to those two guys for helping me.
Spencer, thank you so much, man, for taking the time to join us, buddy. We always like talking baseball with you. And I hope next time that you're on the show, you're donning that Toronto Blue Jays jersey. You know, we're rooting for you. So thanks again, man.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.